Imagine a reality where the rules are different. History takes a detour, or science defies expectations. Today, we journey into that reality. Imagine a world where Rome never fell, where the Caesars still rule, and Latin is the language of global power. Would democracy even exist? Would the United States have ever been born? Or would we still live under the shadow of the Roman eagle? This isn't just an alternate history lesson. This is a glimpse into a world that could have been ours. The Roman Empire was one of the most powerful civilizations in history. Yet, despite its dominance, it crumbled. But why? Economic instability drained its wealth, as heavy taxation and inflation weakened the empire from within. Overexpansion stretched its armies too thin, making it impossible to defend its vast borders. Political corruption eroded trust, with emperors rising and falling through assassinations, bribery, and betrayal. And then came the barbarian invasions, waves of Goths, Vandals, and Huns striking at Rome's weakest points until the empire could no longer hold itself together. But what if those problems never happened? What if Rome adapted and survived? Technology and innovation. Without the fall of Rome, the Industrial Revolution could have been sparked centuries earlier. What if Roman engineers discovered steam power or advanced metallurgy long before the 18th century? Roman ingenuity could have brought us towering skyscrapers, automobiles, and even space travel long before we ever reached the 20th century. Their aqueducts, which were marvels of engineering, could have evolved into hyper-modern infrastructure, revolutionizing water distribution, transportation, and urban development across the world. Politics and governance. But how would Rome's political system evolve? Would it remain an empire, or would the idea of democracy ever emerge? Would the Senate still wield power, or would the emperors continue their iron grip over the people? Could we have a stable mix of both, combining Roman order with modern representation? Roman law, the foundation of much of today's legal systems, would likely be even more pervasive. Would modern justice still be based on Roman principles, or would they evolve differently? Culture and language. Imagine a world where Latin is the universal language. What if every nation spoke it? Would our global communications be more united or more fragmented? And what about religion? Would Roman gods still be worshipped, or would Christianity have risen in the same way? Roman art and literature would have a deeper influence on today's entertainment. Could Hollywood films, literature, and even video games all be steeped in Roman themes and mythologies? But even in a world where the Roman Empire never fell, things wouldn't have been perfect. There's a darker side to this unbroken empire: oppression and slavery. One of the key pillars of Roman society was slavery. Would it still exist in a modern world ruled by Rome? Could technological progress have been slowed down by Rome's reliance on human labor, especially in industries where automation might have emerged centuries later? And what about the treatment of conquered peoples? Would Rome have continued to oppress them, or would the empire evolve into a more equal society? Wars and expansion. Rome's thirst for expansion was insatiable, but could it have conquered the entire world? Or would it face endless rebellions from distant colonies and territories worn thin by constant warfare? Would Rome have clashed with other rising powers, such as China's Han Dynasty or the Mongol Empire, in a battle for dominance? Could Rome have continued to expand, or would its overextension eventually lead to its downfall, even without the invasions of barbarians? Stagnation versus progress. And then there's the question of innovation. In a world with no rivals, would Rome have eventually stagnated? Would the lack of competition and new influences have slowed technological and cultural advancements? Would a Roman-dominated world be more stable? Or would it be fragile, teetering on the brink of collapse under its own weight? Now, after exploring both the possibilities and the pitfalls, we face the ultimate question: Would we be better off in a world where the Roman Empire never fell? A utopian Rome. In one vision, we see a utopian Rome, a world united under Roman law, where peace and order reign. With technological advancements beyond what we've ever imagined, society flourishes. Roman engineering leads to towering cities, space exploration, and innovations that shape a new golden age. The Pax Romana evolves into a global peace, transcending borders and bringing prosperity to every corner of the empire. In this world, Rome's influence could create a stable, advanced civilization where justice and order prevail. But could this peace come at a price? A dystopian Rome. On the other hand, we have a dystopian vision, a stagnant empire where progress is crushed under the weight of authoritarian rule. The Caesars, once visionaries, could become tyrants, holding the world in an iron grip. The lack of competition and diverse ideas might lead to technological stagnation. Cultural progress might slow, as the empire clings to its ancient ways, with little room for change. A world ruled by Rome might have maintained order, but at what cost? Could the empire's obsession with control have stifled freedom and innovation? So we're left with this question. Would you want to live in a world where the Roman Empire never fell? Would you embrace a technologically advanced, unified empire? Or would you prefer the unpredictable nature of history as we know it? Maybe history's course was exactly as it should have been, or maybe we're still writing the story of what could have been.